Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am here today to share all the things that I have been loving in the month of March. Now, if you watch my weekly vlogs or even my plan with me's, you probably know some of the things that are coming. And then I have a couple, not necessarily new ones for you, but things that I have re-fallen in love with in the month of March that I want to share with you. Okay, the first one I'm a little bit nervous to share. Not nervous because I know that I love it, but I haven't had it for that long. So that kind of, you know, does it really deserve to be a favorite? I think it does. It's also not cheap, and I know that. And that is my Apple AirPods. They are the headphones from Apple that are individual. They're like little bitty individual, and they go in your ear, and then there's one for each ear, obviously, and they're Bluetooth to your phone. Now, if you watch my weekly vlogs, or even if you follow me on Instagram, you saw that I won these as part of a charity raffle at work. I put a pretty good amount of tickets into a charity raffle, and I ended up winning these, and I'm obsessed with them, y'all. When they first came out, although this is true for all electronics, okay, so pretty much when every big electronic thing came out, I was like, that's stupid, I don't need that. And then maybe a year or two after it's really popular, I end up getting it, whether it's through a gift or a raffle or some, usually not just like me buying it, and then I fall in love with it. So this happened with the iPhone. When the iPhone first came out, I was like, well, I have a cell phone and an iPod. Why do I need an iPhone? And then my dad got it as a gift for my high school graduation, and I ended up being obsessed, obviously. And then the same thing happened with the iPad. I was like, I mean, I have a laptop and I have a phone. Why do I need an iPad? And then I got that from my dad. My dad has a thing for Apple products for my college graduation. And then I became obsessed with my iPad. Although now I don't use my iPad as much as I used to. And I actually still have that exact same iPad. It's still alive. I'm not really sure how. And so same thing when these came out. I was like, they're gonna fall out of my ears. That seems ridiculously expensive for a pair of headphones. Like, I'm fine with the ones that have the cords. Now I could never live with the ones with the cords. I love being able to walk around my apartment and not worry about the cords. I love being able to be at my desk and my phone can be plugged in and it can be charging while I'm also listening to something. That's ever since they got rid of the headphone jack, that's been a big issue. And I tried one of those splitter things, but it didn't really work. There are so much about these that I love. I love that it pauses when you take it out. So if I'm listening to something at my desk, like a song or a podcast, and somebody walks up to me, I can take the little pod out of my ear and it pauses whatever I'm listening to, talk to whoever came to my desk, and then I put it back in and it starts playing again. I know that they're not cheap, and I know that I didn't pay the full price that they cost. And so if I had paid for that price, would I still be this obsessed with them? I think I would, because I know that I've spent that much money on other stupid things that I don't love as much. And it would have been really hard for me to pull the trigger on that. But if I had, I would love them as much as I do. I thought they would fall out of my ears, and they don't. I don't know. All the things that I had, my assumptions that I had about them are not true. And I can't believe that I lived without them for as long as I did. This doesn't really count as a favorite, but it kind of goes with my headphone things. I included the older version I had of this in a favorites video a while ago, and it goes with the concept of I put my phone in another room to go to bed. That was the habit we talked about, and I showed the little stand that I'd gotten that held my Apple Watch and my phone. Well, I had to get a new one, obviously, for my headphones. I got this on Amazon for like 10 bucks. And so you put the headphones here, and they charge there. I put my watch here and it charges there, and then I put my phone here and it charges there, and this is where everything goes to bed at night. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna talk about is something that I have loved for years. Since my dad first bought it for me, I'm pretty sure when I was in college, and now I've been buying it for myself, but I stopped drinking coffee at home for a while, and so I stopped using this product. And I think there is probably some correlation with the fact that I took sleep off my power sheets to the amount of coffee that I've been drinking at home. But regardless, I've been drinking a little bit more coffee at home in the month of March than I had the first 2 months of the year. And so I wanted to talk about this sugar-free vanilla syrup. It's from Tarani. I don't know if this is like the same one that you get at Starbucks. I don't really know, but it's delicious. It has 0 calories. I'm sure it has all kinds of ingredients that like you're not actually supposed to have, that are actually not good for you. But when I have coffee at home and I put just a little bit of this in, like this bottle will last me like well, it depends on how much coffee I'm having, but it lasts me a long time. I don't put that much in it. I make a normal coffee and I put a little bit of this and a little bit of half and half, and I'm good to go. It's just like, for me, the perfect amount of sweetness, but not, it has 0 calories. I also just get mine on Amazon. I think you can find it in stores, but I order mine from Amazon, so I love this stuff. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna talk about is a podcast. I know you're like, Laken, you're not a podcast person, and I'm still not a podcast person. I find podcasts that I love and I listen to them like obsessively. Like I go back to the beginning and then I get caught up. And that's only happened with a few podcasts, and this is one of them, and now I am all caught up, so I can officially say it's my favorite. And it was recommended to me actually by a couple of you, and that it is called By the Book. And it is these two women that live in New York City, and they will read and live by self-help books and then give you a verdict on whether or not they think that they're worth it and they think that you should read them. Full disclaimer, part of the reason I love them is that they live in New York City. And so I feel like a lot of the things that they do and talk about like really relate to my life. And that's really great. But I think even if you don't live in New York City, you would still enjoy it. They are both very different. One is very like type A, organized, positive. She recently became a freelancer, but she like had the 9-to-5 job. And then the other one was sort of the more like creative, you know, believed in astrology, kind of out there. And I do honestly feel like I'm kind of a blend of the two. I am like the type A, I have a 9-to-5 job, but I also am a creative and I believe in astrology. But it's just kind of funny because they are like almost polar opposites, but they're friends. Even if you only scroll through their podcast and just listen to the episodes of books that you're interested in or books that you've read, I obviously listen to every single episode because that's how I get with podcasts and YouTube channels. I need to watch or listen to everything, but I could not recommend this more. Honestly, it's probably taken more books off my list than it's put on my list, which I am thankful for, but I've also added books to my list of ones that they've read that I didn't think about that I want, you know, that now I want to read. They have 4 seasons, 8 books each season, and there's 2 episodes per book. So there's a good amount of episodes, but it's not like some of the ones you discover. Like one time I went to the Oprah podcast and there's like hundreds and hundreds of podcasts. So there's not that many, but I highly recommend it. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is a workout class, kind of. It's not meant to be a workout class, but I found it via ClassPass, so I consider it a workout class, and it is called Elastics, and it is a stretching technique that is meant to help stretch out all of like the little tiny muscles in your body that you don't think to stretch, but that you actually do work every single day, whether you're working out or not. You work all these little tiny muscles, especially if you're working out, especially certain types of workout like Pilates and bar classes where you're working those little tiny baby muscles, but then you're not really focusing on stretching them out. You're stretching the big muscles, the hamstrings, the biceps, etc. So the woman who created it, her name is Donna, and she created this process, this like whole stretching technique to stretch out all these little muscles, and they have classes. Now, I looked it up, and they currently only have classes in New York City. So if you are in or around New York City, I highly recommend taking an in-person class. They have them at a number of different studios. Like I've taken them at a ton of different places. They don't have their own like standalone studio. They teach at mostly just dance studios, and they rent out their space, and they have different levels. Now, one thing that kind of bothers me is all the more advanced levels are all during the day. Now, I get that because they're probably appealing more to like the dancer or like the person who professionally does some sort of physical activity. And so they have the time during the day to go to a class, whereas I can only take class in the evenings. And in the evenings, you only have the open level, which I do like and I still get tons of value from. But eventually I might want to move up to the more advanced class, but again, they're only during the day. But they do have on their website, they have both videos, some of them are free and some of them are paid for, and then they have DVDs of the stretching. I know there is someone in the world who still has DVDs that you can buy and then stick the DVD into the thing and do the DVDs. My current computer doesn't even have a spot for DVDs. Either way, I highly recommend that you check them out if you're interested in some sort of advanced stretching techniques, especially if you live in New York City. And I am hoping that they will eventually expand to other cities. I've already seen them expand a lot from when I discovered them a couple of years ago. So this is a pseudo long-term favorite, but I fell in love with it in March and started going consistently every week to this one class. And I'm continuing that. Like it's my goal to continue that through April, to go every Wednesday to this open level class. But the first time I took class, it was a long time ago, and they only had 1 or 2 per week, and that was it. And now they have like 10 to 15 classes a week at different studios. And originally it was only her, like the founder, teaching the classes, and now she has other instructors that teach the classes as well. So anyways, I've seen them grow within New York, and hopefully they will eventually expand to other cities. So follow them, write it down, and maybe someday it'll come to your city. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna talk about is an Erin Condren product, and it is this weekly schedule pad. Now, this came out back in November, December. It was part of the holiday launch, like the new holiday products. And when it first came out, I was like, well, that's a cute idea, but like, I'm not gonna use that. like at the time I had already started Jenny Craig, so I didn't need any sort of meal planning. And I have seen, I will link her Instagram below. My friend Chevy, she uses it for meal planning and it looks awesome. And it looks like it works really well for her and her family. I knew I wasn't gonna use it that way. At first, there was nothing I could see that this would work for me. And then it came to me. So Sam has a very flexible job. He runs his own practice. He can work when, where, wherever, whatever he wants. And so one of the big things is I never know when he's gonna be home from work. I never know. And I used to just ask him like during the day, hey, when do you think you're gonna be home tonight? But when I need to schedule my life, like I'm gonna film when he's not here, or I'm gonna make sure I don't have anything planned because he's gonna be home early, because what would happen is I would plan to do something and then he would be there and just wanna hang out, but I had planned to do something. I just need to know. I need to know when he's gonna be home and when he's not gonna be home, so then I can plan my schedule around that. Now, yes, am I sort of planning my life around his life? Yes, which might seem a little bit backwards because he's the one with the flexible schedule, but I also have flexibility. Like I have things I want to get done, I have goals, etc. Things I want to do in my evening time after work, but I can do them pretty much any day. Like it's not a set schedule. So anyways, I decided that this would be perfect to track that. So let me show you a blank one. So this is what a blank one looks like. And it's got all the days of the week. It's undated, so you can add the dates, and then it's just got a lined column for each day. All the days are the same size, including Saturday and Sunday. So here is this week, as of the week I'm filming this video. And so if there's something going on in the morning, we'll write that. I mean, I wrote that it was my birthday, and then I wrote that he has his BNI meeting on Wednesday mornings, which he always has, but I like to make sure I mark it down. And then we will mark if either of us has anything going on in the evenings. His mostly is just when he's gonna be home. I don't necessarily care if whether it's a networking event or an appointment or whatever. Although in retrospect, I should maybe write down the ones that are more like in stone. Like there's certain things that he will do or go to that's more like it can't change, and then some of them like they could change, but regardless, right now that is not how we're using it. So we will write like what I'm doing and then when he thinks he's going to be home, and then we leave this on the kitchen counter so we can both reference it. So if he comes home and I'm not here, he knows where I am, and I have a general sense of when he's going to be home from work. Now, it's always a range with him because he has an appointment at 7. It could take an hour, it could take an hour and a half, it could take 2 hours. So when he has an appointment at 7, he usually says he's going to be home by like between 9 and 9:30. And I'm fine with that. The range, most of the time with him, it's closer to the end of the range. I just really like this. I think it's a really good quality. It sits nice, like it sits nice on a countertop. It doesn't fall over, so highly recommend. Okay, so normally I share my favorite habit of the month, but honestly, there was no new habits in March that I adopted that stuck, that I want to share as a favorite. So instead of a habit this month, I'm going to share like a tip or a trick or something that I did in the month of March that really worked well for me. And it's going to sound like crazy mind-blowing. It's actually very simple, but that is using the notes pages in my Erin Condren for something instead of using a separate planner or notebook for it. I know, it sounds so simple, but I was originally using a deluxe monthly planner for my YouTube schedule. And well, it was great and it gave me all kinds of extra space, and I would fill it in with notes from books and all kinds of things. I didn't like having it in a separate planner because then if I wanted to reference it when I was at work, it was at home. I had to find a home for this second planner, and it just did not work for me. So then I came up with this crazy idea when I was recoiling and adding my hourly with my vertical, and I took one of the dot grid notes pages from one of the Erin Condren notebooks, and I coiled it into the back with my planner, and I'm just putting my YouTube schedule in the back of my normal everyday planner, which it sounds so simple, but it has changed. Now I'm trying to cover up the video so you can't see what's going up in the month of April, because I know a lot of you have mentioned that you like being surprised and you don't want to know the posting schedule ahead of time. So I'm covering up the actual videos, but you can see the dates, and those are the Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays in the month of April. And then I have a column for prep, and then I check it off when it's done. I have a column for film and done, and then edit and done. And the little boxes, I put dates in there on the dates that I'm going to film and edit. And these are removable from Design Pandemonium so that if things change and I have to film or edit on a different day, I can do that. But anyways, the tip is really, if there's something that you're doing in an external planner or notebook and it's not working for you because having both of those things together isn't working, try just using the notes page in the back of whatever planner it is that you use. And if you have to recoil some more in there to do that, then do that. But it really changed the game for me in March. That is it. Those are all the things that I have been loving in the month of March. Let me know in the comments. I think we've done this before, but we're gonna do it again. What podcasts do you love? Again, it takes me some time to find one that I like am obsessed with, but then once I am, I listen to all of them. So I would love your recommendations. I love all kinds of podcasts. I'm not really big on like the storyline ones, like fiction podcasts. I'm really more on like the personal development, kind of self-help, but I'm also down for a little bit of, you know, comedy, humor, something that makes me laugh on the subway in the morning. That's when I mostly listen to them. Although, depending on the task I'm doing at work, sometimes I listen to it at work too. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you so much for watching. Happy planning. A pretty good amount of tickets into a charity travel. They have 8 seasons. Nope, that's wrong. Really, Laken? You always gotta pull it up. A tool or a skill, and I should have grabbed my planner so I could really show it to you. What have you been loving? Not in the month of April, Laken. It's March.